Chapter 1. The Missing Man. It was a cold night in the town of Riven. The streets were empty. Only the wind made a sound. Lyle Karn was a quiet man. He worked at the library. One night he did not come home. His neighbor Zara noticed this. Lyle always came home at 8 p.m., but now it was 11 p.m. Zara knocked on his door. There was no answer. She called his phone. No one picked up. Zara went to the police station. She spoke to Officer Rook. "Lyle is missing," she said. Officer Rook nodded. He knew Lyle. Everyone did. He was a good man. "We will look for him," Officer Rook said. He and Zara went to the library. It was dark and quiet. Lyle's car was still there. The door to the library was open. Inside, books were scattered on the floor. Zara found Lyle's glasses on a table. "He never goes anywhere without these," she said. Officer Rook frowned. Something was wrong. Lyle had vanished without a trace. The search began. The town was worried. Where was Lyle Karn? What had happened to him? The mystery was just beginning. Chapter 2. The Hidden Note. The next day, Zara went back to the library. She wanted to find clues. She looked around carefully. She saw a small piece of paper under a book. It was a note. The note said, "Meet me at the old factory at midnight." It was in Lyle's handwriting. Zara showed the note to Officer Rook. He read it and sighed. "This is serious," he said. Officer Rook and Zara decided to go to the old factory. It was outside the town. The factory had been closed for years. People said it was dangerous. At midnight, they arrived at the factory. The place was dark and cold. They saw broken windows and old machines. They walked carefully. Suddenly, they heard a noise. Someone was there. Zara and Officer Rook hid behind a wall. They saw a tall man. He was talking on the phone. "Yes, I have him," the man said. "He's safe for now." Zara's heart raced. Was this man talking about Lyle? Officer Rook signaled Zara to stay quiet. The man walked away. They followed him slowly. The man entered a small room. Zara and Officer Rook peeked inside. They saw Lyle. He was tied to a chair. The tall man was guarding him. Lyle looked scared but unhurt. Officer Rook whispered to Zara, "We need to help him, but we must be careful." Chapter 3. The Rescue Plan. Zara and Officer Rook backed away quietly. They needed to think of a plan. Zara had an idea. "We should call for backup," she said. Officer Rook agreed. He called the station. Soon, 2 more officers arrived. They made a plan. Officer Rook would distract the tall man. Zara and the other officers would rescue Lyle. They moved into position. Officer Rook knocked on the door of the small room. The tall man opened it. "Who are you?" he asked. "What do you want?" "I heard someone inside," Officer Rook said. "I wanted to check." The tall man stepped out to block the door. He looked angry. At that moment, Zara and the other officers rushed in from the side. They quickly untied Lyle. "Thank you," Lyle whispered. He looked tired and scared. The tall man heard the noise. He turned around. Officer Rook tackled him to the ground. The other officers helped. They handcuffed the tall man. He was caught. Zara hugged Lyle. "You're safe now," she said. Lyle nodded, his eyes full of gratitude. The officers took the tall man away. They would find out who he was and why he took Lyle. Back at the police station, Lyle told his story. "The man wanted information," he said. "He thought I knew something about the factory." "What did he want to know?" Zara asked. Lyle shook his head. "I don't know," he said, "but I think there's more to this." The mystery was not over. There were still many questions. Who was the tall man? What was he looking for? And why did he think Lyle knew about it? Chapter 4. The Secret of the Factory. The next day, Lyle, Zara, and Officer Rook met to talk about the factory. Lyle had an idea. "We need to look around the factory," he said. "There might be clues." They drove to the old factory. It was still dark and cold. They entered carefully. The place felt eerie. They started to search each room. In one room, they found old papers. Zara looked through them. "These are plans," she said, "for something big." Lyle found a hidden door behind a shelf. They opened the door. It led to a basement. The stairs were steep and dusty. They walked down slowly. The basement was filled with old machines and tools. In the corner, they found a large safe. It was locked. Officer Rook examined the safe. "We need to open this," he said. Zara found a small key on a nearby table. "Try this," she said. The key fit. The safe opened with a click. Inside, they found old documents and maps. Lyle picked up a map. "This shows the factory and tunnels under it," he said. One document was a letter. It was from many years ago. It talked about a hidden treasure under the factory. The tall man must have been looking for it. "This is why he took you," Zara said to Lyle. "He thought you knew about the treasure." Officer Rook nodded. "We need to secure this place," he said, "and find out who else is involved." The mystery was getting clearer. They knew why Lyle was taken, but they still needed to find the treasure and the people behind it. The search was not over yet. Chapter 5. The Hidden Treasure. Lyle, Zara, and Officer Rook knew they had to find the treasure before anyone else. They studied the map carefully. It showed a tunnel under the factory leading to a secret room. They followed the map to a small door hidden behind a machine. The door creaked open. Inside, a dark tunnel stretched ahead. They entered, using flashlights to see. The tunnel was long and narrow. After a few minutes, they reached another door. Lyle pushed it open. They stepped into a small room. In the center was an old chest. Zara's hands shook as she opened the chest. Inside, they found gold coins, jewels, and old artifacts. "This must be the treasure," she said, her eyes wide with amazement. Officer Rook smiled. "We did it," he said, "but we need to be careful. This is valuable." Suddenly they heard footsteps behind them. The tall man had escaped and followed them. He looked furious. "That treasure is mine!" he shouted. Lyle stood in front of Zara and Officer Rook. "No, it belongs to the town," he said firmly. The tall man lunged at Lyle, but Officer Rook was ready. He quickly handcuffed the man again. "You're not getting away this time," he said. They took the treasure and the tall man back to the police station. The town was amazed at the discovery. The treasure was put in the local museum, and everyone was proud of Lyle, Zara, and Officer Rook. Lyle was happy to be safe. He thanked Zara and Officer Rook for their help. The mystery of Lyle's disappearance was solved. The town of Riven was peaceful again, and the secret of the old factory was finally revealed.